right, my friends, it is time for part 4 of the how about the Disco Infernos, where something is always heating up. Yeah, or I was thinking about maybe the Celebrities Club, as in check engine light. Okay, well, enough of that. We are going to introduce you to the new wife, who is in the background, and in front of us is the old wife. The divorce is basically finalized, and now we have to, I guess, transplant the heart from the old girl into the new girl, and that's what we're going to do. This is after power washing, and it looks no better, of course. The only reason I did that is just so that it's not so greasy, trying to take everything apart, just get things cleaned up as best I could, and just to make the job a little less hectic. I do plan on rebuilding the head gaskets while the engine is out. It will be a lot easier of a job to do this. Actually looking forward to the head gasket job, believe it or not, just because the engine won't be in it. So here's the old one. We power washed it. Ooh, just don't look at that. May you rust in peace. Okay, power washer, and now we're over to the new donor frame. So what we're gonna do on this immediately after it dries, and it looks like we have some dry weather, which starts tomorrow, we're gonna paint it. And we're gonna use some good paint, get this thing all glossed up, protected. I mean, it already is very good, but we just, we're not doing this to just do this. We are doing this to hopefully last the rest of its life. This vehicle should have at least another 100,000 miles in it, I would think. And so we're going to clean it up and we're going to paint it. And then we're going to start moving things over from the old girl over to the new girl. So with that said, thanks for tuning in for part 4. I know these are long videos. I appreciate your patience in staying with me. These are complicated things to do, and there's just really no way to rush it. So thanks again, and let's get to it. So we've got to first disconnect the flange here from the manifold down into the Y pipe, and there's 3 bolts. They're 12 millimeter. This one back here is a little tricky to get to, but I gotta tell you, actually I feel like it's easier from underneath. You get a long extension and you can put a wobble or universal socket on the end of it, and you can usually get to it. I don't feel like laying down on the ground right now because it's 90 degrees and the pavement's about 1 million degrees. So I don't feel like doing that. So I got it from the top here. Basically, I was able to get this ratcheting socket box wrench on it, and I'm able to get that last one out. Same thing then for the other side, which is right there. This one looks like it was stripped out, so they put a nut on the top of it. They may have done that on the other side as well, but we gotta get those done. Once we get these out, we'll be moving on to the motor mounts. One here, one on the opposite side, and then transmission mount, one here and one on the opposite side. And as I make mistakes, I'm here to document them so you don't do the same. But here's the problem I'm running into. A little hard to see right now, but this is tapered, and as you go down the pipe, it goes this way. So the problem I have is as backing off the nut off the stud, I'm losing room. So you can see it's way close. And now what's funny is I can't get the wrench off because you can't reverse these locking or these boxed wrenches with a ratchet built in. You don't have the ability to do that. So now I'm gonna have to try to knock it off with a hammer and chisel or something. So that's my mistake. So don't do what I just did. Use a socket, get underneath, suck it up if it's hot. Ouch. Alrighty, really the only feasible way to get these motor mounts is from underneath here. So let's see if I can get a video of it. But I'm sorry if you can't even see that. I don't even know if it's in the shot or not. But basically, you got to come up underneath and grab it. It's an 18 millimeter socket, I believe, 18 millimeter on both sides. So if you release it from either side, I mean, and then you get the nuts off of the flange from the manifold, you're making good progress. You've got to then move back here for the transmission mounts, and of course, again, underneath is the only way to get these There's one. The other one came off with some, it took some brute force. This thing's, you know, completely rusted, so I didn't expect it to be easy, and of course it wasn't. You know, I damaged the nut pretty good, so I have to probably find another one and put that back on when we reinstall this. Next, we got to disconnect the drive shafts. So I'm going to do it down here. I might see, I don't know how feasible this is going to be, but if I can leave them connected and just let them hang, I really doubt this is a good idea. So I got to disconnect it anyway. So I'm going to try from here, and then when I end up lifting, I'll see if I can clear it. I really doubt it. And in fact, as I'm talking out loud, I'm going to just disconnect it here from the emergency brake, parking brake, and just be done with it. I'll probably be able to get away with it on the front here. So you got to disconnect it way up there at that cardan up there, and those are usually not that easy to get out either. So the very last thing I can see that we got to work on is the power steering pipes that lead from the power steering pump itself, ultimately go down into, you know, some cooling lines here. I'm sorry, that's for the brakes. Or wait, what is that for? Forgive me. Okay, scratch the last thing I said. These lines that connect the power steering, this is the cooling line here that I'm going to probably replace. You know, it's just getting to the end of the life with the rust on this. Might as well just do it right. So we'll disconnect that, and basically looks like it's a 10mm nut right down in there, that one in the background, and that will allow this to probably pull right up out of there. And for a reference point, I believe I have it on the new frame right here and here. So we're going to make sure we get all the water out of here if there's any that got in, and so we'll just pop that out, move the new line over to that one. And you know, again, I look down here, I see the power steering hoses. The reservoir will need to be disconnected, so we're going to just probably unpinch these clamps here and just disconnect them both. One of them stays with the power steering pump itself. Yeah, the back one stays with the power steering pump, and so we can probably just leave this connected. Disconnect the one that leads to the engine, because obviously they need to separate when you pull the engine up. I think if I get all those things done, that we might be ready to try to lift this thing out of here. Okay, more to come. Okay, I got the power steering pump hoses disconnected. So from the engine side, I disconnected that, and that's this here. And then from the reservoir, I disconnected both of those. And now the engine should separate. I am hoping this will just lift straight up. I've got the engine mounts disconnected. I've got the drive shaft up here disconnected. I haven't gotten to that one yet, but I will do that in just a moment. I've gotten it disconnected back here. The mounts are disconnected, and after I do the drive shaft right here, the only thing left, I've got these hoses that run from the carbon filter, or whatever this is called, the charcoal filter. I'll just disconnect those here, let those hoses kind of, I guess, lay loose. And then we got to figure out how to lift this thing up. Okay, just one little note. There wasn't really any pressure in the system, but there could be. These are fuel lines, so when you disconnect these, they're just basically a pinch and then you pull it apart. There could be some residual fuel. There was a little bit dripping out, but just be aware that could leak out, and you definitely don't want any sparks or anything nearby. So just be mindful of that. Next, we've got my tractor. I believe I can lift this up with the tractor. So I removed the bucket. I've got my loader on the front, and I've got ballast on the back of the tractor. I'm gonna guess this is 600 or 800 pounds of engine and transmission. So we're gonna see if we can hook this up properly so we don't damage anything when we lift it, and we'll come back and show you. you can see this came out. I did a okay job at getting the things that needed to be disconnected. I just had a heck of a time trying to get this thing undone. I only got one nut off, so I decided to kind of finagle this around, and I was able to work it, moving the chassis around to clear the drive shaft. So I got to do the reverse now when I go to install it on the new one.